The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome to Old Space Show, Earth Edition, I guess, for this series. But I'm Brandon, and riding shotgun with me is Tony.
Yeah, we're here for another trip, mile after mile. We're keep on keeping on here.
That's right, because this series of Old Space Show will follow the exploits of a man and his car following the first season of Knight Rider. Today we're here to discuss episode 11, The Final Verdict.
Ooh, sounds very, very serious, but it's got that legal aspect to it. That's what the verdict thing is all about, of course. So here it is. Cheryl Burns, an old friend of Michael's, has been accused of murder. Gasp. Michael asks for some time off to search out the only man who can clear Cheryl's name, accountant Marty King, who is a Woody Allen type, and it's about a fairly as accurate a description as we're going to get for him. So
Right. This one is directed by Bernard L. Kowalski, written by Tom Green.
Hey,
Daddy, have you found my sausage? Backwards man. Sorry, not that Tom Green, but
it's good.
And John Allen Schwartz. Yeah, Tom Green and John Allen Schwartz. They wrote it. Starring David Hasselhoff again, Edward Mulhare, Patricia McPherson, William Daniels, Roman Bieri, Don Gordon, Rick Fitz, Tim Rosovich, and Penny Pazer. So this episode opens up with a new thing Kit can do. It can ID scan people and have this awesome Nintendo 8-bit cutscene picture of the person.
It was pretty amazing. Like they were very impressed. I half expected it to print out on a dot matrix printer, like after he made it on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I was like, come on, let's go.
Right. Yeah, that was cool. And I will say, Johnny Lee, musician who did the song Highways Run Forever.
Yeah.
I wonder if he paid a pretty penny to have his song play as Michael drives the desert.
It was like
randomly.
It was like a beautiful nature montage, and it was this big deal. It was like a 3-minute sequence, which is an eternity for TV.
You got at least 2 verses, 2 choruses in the bridge in there. Like that's
absolutely.
I was like, was it? Did they get the final edit and we're like, we're short? Or was a record company that also was with the studio like, we need your hit show Knight Rider. We need this in.
Is a distinct possibility, I guess.
Because I mean, they would do that on shows. Because even to Miami Vice back in the day. I remember an episode where they were playing Phil Collins in the Air Tonight in Total with just Crockett and Tubbs driving in the night and looking cool, and then making sure their gun was loaded, and then it cut to the next day. That was it. So that kind of stuff would happen back then.
Yeah, it's very it's an interesting vibe to the episode. I didn't hate it. It was fine. It kind of showed obviously it was another chance again to remind everyone that Kid can drive themselves, and he could drive pretty much wherever he wants. But
right.
He was like, let's cut through the desert, and then they're still on a road. It's a dirt road, but it's obviously a road. And then they cut to his to his dashboard, and you can see it's the miles per hour just kicks up. You see it go from 120 to 140 in a second. I'm like, how fast do you think Kit's going in the desert here? Geez, there's got to be some limit here.
Right. So yeah, this one revolves around a friend of Michael's. She's in jail and she's wrongfully accused of murder. And there's a guy that has information that can help, and he kind of looks like Woody Allen. That's the thing.
Yes.
And that is not a
That's
lie.
no, it's a very clear, intentional kind of
Just said,
kind of
could
vibe
have
to him.
said looks and acts like Woody Allen. Like
Yes.
it wasn't just the look, but so this is another Michael Knight detective episode. But
Right.
one of the best, because we've had glimpses of previous episodes of Michael's detective work, but this is the full-on thing. We get like stealth visits, stakeouts, research, interviewing, clues. It's kind of rad. I kind of
Yeah.
am down
And
with
once
the
again,
structure here.
you get Michael's intuition coming into play on several occasions here, like we talked about a few episodes ago. This is where Michael's kind of intuitive instincts play a very different vibe than Kit's very logical approach to things. It's a very interesting juxtaposition to kind of see them both kind of work in tandem, and both of their different features kind of be highlighted throughout the episode. One thing I thought was interesting, and I didn't really think about this until after the episode ended, and I was doing some post rewatch reviews and looking around online for little tidbits and stuff, is so Cheryl is like Michael's old friend, right? Like they establish that very clearly, like old friend, like knows him from way back in the day. But it's hard to remember because it was way back in the first episode, and we've established this Hasselhoff Michael Knight character. Michael used to be Michael Long, a different name. Right. He used to look completely different, but she tracks down Michael Knight very easily, doesn't question that he has last name. When he shows up to the prison as Hasselhoff, she doesn't like, oh, you've changed. She's just like, oh, so good to see you. I'm like,
I didn't even
what
think
is
about
this? Because yeah, he's supposed to be like this like unknown off the grid element, right? So
I am the target audience they were going for with this, because I didn't even think about that.
It's just one of those things you don't think about until it's too late. Like, wait a minute, I mean, in the moment, it doesn't impact anything that the story's happening, and like the writers aren't going to stop and be like, oh, she shouldn't recognize him, or she should, maybe it would have been funny if she made an offhanded comment of like my, how you've grown or something, but like not a big deal in the grand scheme of the episode. So
well, here's another thing too with this is kind of how Michael had to be the plastic surgery and stuff was done just because like we need you to look like nobody that's ever been around before, and you're gonna be this secret person with this super secret car that we at the first chance we get, we tell everybody everything about all the time. So why did Michael have to be super secret? Like, was Michael Long so just funny, too recognizable to the rest of the world?
Yeah, because and it gets it's definitely as the season has progressed, he gets more and more brazen. He does the exact same thing in this episode too, where like he runs out, like zero F's given. Like if anybody knows that Kit's a self-driving car, like he goes in the bar to arm wrestle, and he talks on the Dick Tracy watch to Kit, and the guy's like, a talking watch, and then he goes outside, and Kit has to push a garbage truck out of his way to make sure he could leave his parking spot. And he does it right in front of the garbage man, who's like, you can't do that to city property. And P.S., who's driving that car? Like it's like more and more like, who cares if anybody knows at this point? So it's
the scene you mentions where Kit moves the dump truck because the guy parks Michael in.
Yes.
I will say, like, I felt like in this episode I want to point something out. Like, while it's not very pretty looking, I kind of remember like TV in this time and stuff, like it used to look they used to go to places and hang out in places in flyover states that would be recognizable to flyover states. Like this looks like some whatever in some area of the Midwest between New York and Los Angeles that small town people would, recognize or whatever. I get it. Like it's probably cheap. It's still California and stuff, but it always just like, it feels like it's with the common folk or whatever. More often, like there's so many shows would do this kind of thing or be in these places that just it's not even a thought anymore, unless you're Schitt's Creek. But Schitt's Creek is like still like a pretty version of.
You're right. It was intentionally designed to be that kind of you get the glitziest effort of that goofy small town. So yes.
Yeah, this is like Supergirl 3 dumpy small town.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, so Michael goes to these bars, but we do get the facial ID, finds the Woody Allen guy, and he goes to this like there's like a fitness club that they go to, and it is like everything you're hoping it to be once you go inside. Like there's aerobics,
Yes.
tropical plants, leg warmers, 80s pop, a pool, astroturf. It is
Yes.
everything.
And it's the world's thinnest excuse to shoot a scene inside this type of place. Like there's no reason for Marty to be in here.
And he goes back later.
Right. Yes. So yes, a very, very thin reason to be there. But we're there, so you might as well enjoy all the spandex and neon that you can while we're shooting these scenes. So
yeah, which Kit finds the area quite intoxicating, and Michael's like, "Well, try
No.
to stay sober until I get back." So yeah, and then Marty, the guy, Marty, goes to work, which is funny because he looks like Woody Allen, and his name's Marty, which Scorsese has kind of that Woody. Well, he grow to have a Woody Allen type look later on, his big glasses and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's kind of so yeah, nimbly New York guy. So Michael disguised himself as a maintenance man to go ask him about Cheryl. Which is funny. But of course there are some gigantic goons that are like onto Michael that are at this place as well. And one looks like Prince Adam from He-Man, and the other's like a stunt double for Joe Don Baker. Like that's
my God, it was as soon as I saw that, the He-Man reference is a great reference. As soon as I saw him come on the screen, I'm like, is this guy like if Lou Ferrigno needed a stunt double? Like, is that what, like, he's huge, like, like ridiculous, like cartoonishly huge. And then in all the chase scenes, he's the one driving the car. I'm like, can he even fit his arms in? Like, can he get in the seat? Right.
Like what
it's
use
does
like, this oaf of a man serve? Like
clown car, right? It's ridiculous. And he has several lines. Usually those big guys are just the strong silent type, but he talks a lot.
Yeah, no, like he literally, like, I was like, whoa, he like had a shirt on too. I was like, it's Prince Adam. That's for the kids. That's who He-Man is when he's not He-Man. Like he's a guy named Prince Adam that nobody can tell.
Absolutely not,
because he has a shirt on. Like that's
right. And he still has his big green tiger, but this tiger's scared. He's a scared tiger. He couldn't be Battle Cat. He's just a little guy.
He's not wearing a saddle and armor, you know.
His tail's between his legs. He won't fight.
They have the same friends. Like
I know we're going way off topic here, but yes, of course, it's like the thinnest of reasons. But yeah, this guy is
I saw at Target last time I was there, they had the complete series of Masters of the Universe that used to be out of print. They have it back now. I'm like, I need to pick that up. I don't know why.
Oh yeah,
that's much. I think it might have She-Ra in there too. I'm not sure because it had like a little She-Ra blurb on the back. I'm like, that'd be even cooler if it had both.
That would be cool. That would be very cool
to relive and be underwhelmed by one of my favorite shows as a kid. But
I do the same thing with Thundercats. I was all in on Thundercats back in the day, and you watch it now, and you're like, just humans running around being idiots with tails.
Thundercats, He-Man, and Masters Universe. That was the trifecta. But the one that disappointed me most of all time was Ninja Turtles.
The original, okay.
The original first season, like 6 or 7 episode run, is fantastic. And then when it got put to like full seasons, it's like the same episode every week.
It's tough to justify turtles coming out of the sewers fighting crime and then going back in, like there's only so much you can do with that. So similar to what you might have to do with the talking car every week.
Yeah. Even more challenging because you got animators that have to draw this shit over.
Yeah, amen to that. So, but I do bringing it all the way back to this episode. I do give this episode credit for, like you said, it's a very like it's got that kind of heisty, like Michael can do different things vibe.
Yeah,
there's an extra element there's not just a bad guy. There's like Marty is wanted by not just Michael for what he needs to do. But there's this whole other subplot involving the police in his town trying to get him. So it's got a very like rat race kind of vibe of like who's going to get to him first, like where are we going to go with this type of thing. So it made for a very engaging for as much as last week's episode the plot failed.
Mhm.
This week, the plot really, I think, accented the action that was going
Yeah.
on for
No,
sure.
yeah, yes, totally agree. Like, yeah, it was so much fun. And then like the action itself was kind of different because when Michael goes to that warehouse and those two guys confront him, it's like a 66 Batman fight in
Oh,
there. Like
100%.
just missing Biff, Pow, everything. Like it's got Dutch angles and just really big going for it, like punches and then yeah, Marty flees from that fight, but like he goes back to the little workout place and his trainer girl, she covers for him.
Yes.
Like it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a very interesting vibe, is kind of watching Marty kind of try to hide around town. And then of course after that he's like, well, where should I go hide now? He hides out on the bench outside of his apartment,
Right.
and he watches I mean, smart, he watches every single person come raid his apartment to try to find him, and he just sits there and watches it all kind of happen.
Yep. Then yeah, we get to see cool things. Also like Kit boosting Michael up a fire escape,
Yes,
and
yeah, using that ejector seat for good.
but
Yes.
he walks into a couple in bed when he goes through a window.
Oops.
Michael.
Michael, you rapscallion.
Um, yeah, and then when he gets Marty and they're trying to escape through things together, he puts him. There's a part where he tries to like throw him over a fence, and it is just wow, wow.
Yeah, again, yeah, I feel like there's at least one moment I feel like in every episode where the editors are like, God, we have like 3 minutes to fill, and we
Yep.
just have nothing of value. So let's just try to watch this guy struggle over a fence and then fall on top of Michael, and
Right.
and then run away or whatever. Like, yeah,
Which
it's just, yeah,
the scene does
yeah,
have Michael break his watch, so he can't communicate with Kit.
you're right.
Um, and then Michael has this gross little like pep talk with Marty about talking to a girl he likes to get him motivated to turn in these guys. Or it's not
Yeah.
not pretty. Not
No,
pretty.
there's a couple of filler spots where it's like, yeah, for as much as we like the plot overall, some of the details, when you scope in a little bit, it gets a little
Oh,
fuzzy
and we
there.
haven't mentioned this entire plot is a race against the clock as well, because there's like a trial.
Yes,
They need evidence for this guy needs to turn in that's going to happen in the morning, and they get it there just in time.
right.
And Kit confuses Joe Don Baker, stunt double, and Prince Adam on a loudspeaker from his car that he's like the police, which is
Yeah, it's a very interesting. Yeah, it's a really interesting vibe because, yeah, so Michael is chasing Marty because Marty is the only one that can corroborate the fact that Cheryl has an alibi. Cheryl's in jail because her boss was found dead, and it was after when they had a fight. So
right.
so she's in jail on suspicion of murder, but
Hmm.
she was at a bar where she met Marty and talked to him. So he's the
Right.
only one that can provide an actual alibi. So Marty leaves out, I think this is in Albuquerque or something. So he goes to
Hmm.
find Marty. He wants to take Marty to the trial, which is happening like that next day.
Hmm.
But the police won't let him take Marty because they're staking him out because he's an accountant for a shady company and they know
Hmm.
he's cooking the books for them. Yeah, so they have to go to the company, steal the books. Michael and Marty, they have to steal the accounting books, take them to the police officers who will then begrudgingly agree
Right.
to let Marty go be a witness for this trial. So that's a very follow the dots type of thing, but it all makes sense. It works in the context of the story, which is awesome. So
Right. Right. Yeah, and everything goes as they want it to. Cheryl gets out of jail, and everybody goes to the bar to have a good time, which is the same bar they were at earlier. And the
yes.
guy's like, the bartender's like, "Yo, ventriloquist," and he wants to like arm wrestle Michael, and he does, and we get a freeze frame of Michael like, "Ah,
Oh, right. It's a very comedic ending, which
yes,
is good because it wipes away the super creepy lead up to that, where Michael and Cheryl, like, I got initially, like, when she was in jail, I kind of got the vibe like they were like friends. Almost got like the brothers, like big brother, little sister
yeah,
vibe,
yeah, yeah."
but not here in the bar.
Nope.
Michael's like, I'm so glad you're okay, like gazing. And then they start making out like in front of Marty. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And then Marty's like,
Hmm.
hey, I did something too. And then she turns around and kisses him on the lips. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
disgusting. I know we're in like a 70s, 80s swinger vibe here, but like, no, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Just cut. Just get us out of here, please. Just go. Just go. Just
Please,
go.
yes.
and then it gets arm wrestling. Yeah, it's a bit wild. We gotta finish this episode somehow, right?
They have to, right? And then of course they go. It's a very interesting. Yeah, so they've got like the very like romantic-y, like macking on the girl thing to like this comedic, like haha, finish with the freeze frame vibe. And then as it closes, this was obviously probably largely unplanned until it happened. But the episode closes with a tribute placard of then recently deceased series producer R.A. Senator, where
Mhm.
it says, in remembrance of R.A. Senator, he was an original, right? Like it's got
Right.
this very like touching thing at the end. And it's like, oh boy, we have run the range of emotions here these last 2.5 minutes. I don't know what to think anymore. So
I was like, we'll put his name right after this, the triple suck face, and then arm wrestle, and yeah,
sure, why not? Just throw it all, just mix it all up, a little smorgasbord of WTF at the end of this episode.
yeah. Oh, that's yeah. But
But it was a
anyways,
fun episode overall.
yeah,
It was a lot of fun.
I
It was
chalked
good.
this up with my tops of the season, because it just all worked
Yeah.
really well. They Kit gets a cool new thing to do. Michael, this is just Detective Michael at his best. Like
Yeah.
it if they found ways to, like, Kit wasn't around with things to do with the plot, but it didn't feel like, man, they're wasting Kit at all. Like, it was, I don't know, this worked for me quite a bit. I
Yeah,
had a lot of fun with
he
this
wasn't
one.
terribly he wasn't terribly central, but he played a pretty key role in a lot of what, like he essentially kind of rescued Michael from
Mhm.
from the chintzy warehouse fight. He was, without the very specific use of the ejector seat, Michael probably wouldn't have been able to sneak into Marty's apartment, things like that. So yeah, Kit definitely um had a good, there was a huge chase scene at the end, which was great. You've got,
Yep.
there when they're racing to get Marty and the accounting books to the police officers so that they could finish that part and then be able to take Marty to Albuquerque for the trial.
Right.
It was a great chase scene with this absolute boat of a car like following them very closely.
Right.
And then of course the guys, and it's a very interesting goof that I read about afterwards is like, so they're being followed by Prince Adam and the company owner guy, who's of course leaning out the window shooting pew pew pew, and
Pew
Michael's like, don't
pew.
worry, it's bulletproof. But there are at least 2 times during the chase scene, including one where they were on a road and Michael or the stunt driver obviously swung it around and went the other way on the road, and the cars were like side by side, where you could see Kit's windows were down. Like, you're not bulletproof if your windows are down, bro. They could just
Right.
shoot you right through the
No.
open window. And I understand why they did it, because the stunt drivers
Yeah.
are probably overheated and working hard and everything. But it's very clear when you're looking into the car,
Oh,
like,
geez.
his windows are down. You can just shoot right in there, and that's the end of the episode. Very grim end of the episode right there. So
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's
what are you
crazy.
gonna do? Nothing's perfect. So
No, true. I'll forgive it. Earned. This episode
of
earned it.
course it did. It did.
Yeah, no, this is a good time. This is definitely high recommend of the season. Uh and our last 2 out of our last 3 have been pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Um the meat in the middle of the sandwich, not so tasty, but the bread was
Yeah.
excellent.
Amen to that.
So all right, Tony, let's shift gears and look toward the sunset before we hit the horizon. Where can people find you?
Yeah, come hang out with me online. You can do all the social stuff, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitters at Tony Schaab. And as always, you can swing by sciencefiction.com, where I'm doing all the fun writing as their senior editor. We're doing movie reviews and TV reviews and news articles and op-ed pieces and all the good geeky stuff that we can possibly squeeze in there.
All right. Hashtag Kits and Michael Meaners.
Mhm.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. We're gonna work on whysoblue.com. Something's gonna happen for you on Monday from the show. I don't know what, but stay tuned for that. But this will be here next week. Tony and I have another Night Rider adventure. But from Old Space,
Brandon and Tony, not so lone crusaders in a dangerous world, the world of Old Space Show.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.